In this video, we're going over how I built a self-writing newsletter about the latest on AI and what AI skills and concepts I had to learn in order to build this project. I'm a big believer of building projects as learning paths to acquire skills, and we will talk about AI embedding, semantic search, and RAG or retrieval augmented generation. And I hope that this video inspires you to also build your own AI project.
Build your science projects.
Yes, that's right. This is a personalized newsletter, which means you can fully customize it. Only want AI updates about healthcare? Done. Only want to hear about AI developments in your country? Sure. You can have your newsletter written in any language, any format, even as a rap lyric. After all, this is your newsletter, so you should have full control on what lands on your inbox. But before we dive into the technicalities such as tech stack, architecture, and news scraping strategies, why did I even build this project and how does it even work? So, a little bit of a backstory. I built this project back in 2024 because I was so overwhelmed with AI news. It felt like there was a breaking story every hour and I was always behind. Nowadays, it's so easy to ask Claude or ChatGPT to track the news for us and tell us exactly what we missed while we were sleeping. But back then, AI had limited web search capabilities. You ask it for the latest news and it will hallucinate.
Okay, you're a hallucination! You're a hallucination.
My solution was to subscribe to 4 to 6 newsletters on the latest AI news, but the problem was there was too much information, too many links, and too much noise. And look, the first thing I did was try to see if there were already existing solutions to this problem. But the more I looked, the more it became obvious that everyone's on their own and there's a lot of people looking for solutions. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, and while we're at it, use this project to really learn about RAG and semantic search.
Go RAGs!
There are 3 things you need to set it up: topic, tone, and timing. Your topic filter ensures that you only receive newsletters about the topics you're actually interested in following in AI. This is your noise filter, and the more specific you are, the better. Tone filter allows you to tell AI how it should be writing your newsletter. There's a few selections here, such as, for example, executive briefing, technical deep dive, or skeptical watchdog. It really depends on what tone you want, and if you want to construct your own tone and format, you can select that too, say if you want it written in your own native language. Finally, choose how often you want to receive it, and you're good to go. Give it a whirl by sending yourself a test email, which you can check right on your dashboard or on your own email inbox, and if you're happy, then you're good. Now let's see it in action. We are reading right from the database. This user wanted a newsletter about the latest advancements in AI in all fields, but with a concentration in healthcare. They also wanted the latest new AI startups with practical uses. The user wanted to read it like an executive briefing. So let's see the latest email that she got.
Lilly, and Insilico Medicine's $2.75 billion partnership. Lilly teams up with Insilico Medicine in a multi-billion-dollar deal to advance AI-developed drugs. Total value was $2.75 billion. Insilico is to receive $115 million upfront, and Insilico has at least 28 AI-developed drugs, half in clinical trials. Why it matters? There's a potential acceleration in AI-driven healthcare solutions.
Okay, so here's another one, but this time I want you to guess which AI topics this user wanted to get a newsletter on.
Since you are keen on practical usage and UI UX design, here are some technical insights and development shaking things up in your realm. Number 1. OpenAI's Codex expands to plug-in marketplace. Codex enhancements offer integrations with Slack, Figma, Notion via a new plug-in marketplace.
And this user specifically mentioned that they're interested in design plugins, which is the topic of the first bullet point in their newsletter. So, how does it all work? Okay, so high level, I have two cron jobs that fire off daily. Cron jobs are just functions that fire off at specific times of the day. The first one is set at midnight and it's tasked to scrape the web for AI news. We will get into scraping later. The second one is set in the morning and it's tasked to see if there's any user that's supposed to be getting a newsletter for the day. And if there is, then we take a look at their chosen topics and then take a look at the articles that we scraped for the day or for the week, depending on the user's preferred schedule. And we see if there is any matching or any relevant article. And if there are, then we send that to the AI and ask to create a newsletter based on the articles and the user's chosen tone or format. And that's how you create a newsletter. We will go over the tech stack in a little bit, but I just want to highlight that this is also exactly what RAG looks like in real life. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. So in this case, what we did was we retrieved the data from external sources, in which case the data is the articles, right? Then we augment the prompt that we have for AI. So the original prompt looks like, hey, just create a newsletter. But in this case, now we have the articles to base the newsletter on. Not only do we use the articles, we also use the user's preferred tone and format on how they want to write the newsletter. Then we generate an answer based on that. What comes out of this whole RAG process is what we send to users via resend. We send it via email. So that's what RAG looks like. But the most important question here is, how do you even know which articles are relevant?
Objection. Relevance.
That whole process of finding which articles are semantically related to a certain topic is called semantic search. And for semantic search to happen, you need embeddings. Embeddings are thousands of numbers. It's an array of numbers, and these numbers are just coordinates. This is how you locate a text, a paragraph inside a large language model and its map of meanings. Think of it as the latitude and longitude. Here on Earth, if we want to locate a place, we need two coordinates, right? Inside a large language model, we need not just two coordinates, thousands of coordinates. And that is what is called an embedding, or otherwise called as a vector. What we want to do is send all these articles to an embedding model. In this case, I'm using OpenAI's text embedding small. I think that's the model. And once we have that number, we save that inside a vector database. The vector database that I'm using is Supabase. So in this case, I have an embedding for the topics. Earlier, when you click on next after you filled out the topics that you want to follow in AI, we actually turn those topics into an embedding. And then because we have the embedding of each of the article, we can calculate the distance between them. And that is how we know which one is relevant. Supabase supports 3 ways of calculating this distance. I'm using cosine similarity, which is arguably the most popular. And what gets returned is a match score. So now I will have an 80% match score, a 70% match score, 40% match score, and it's up to you to determine what match score would be considered relevant. So it's also worth noting that before I actually send the articles to OpenAI's embedding model, I chunk them first into smaller pieces, because what you want to do is, instead of compare this topic versus a whole article, you might want to just compare the topics to paragraphs inside that article, so that something is just casually mentioned in passing but is actually related to a user's interest. You will be able to capture that. I use LangChain's text splitter to chunk an article into smaller pieces. LangChain will ask you how many characters needs to be in a chunk or how many tokens. There's a few ways you can customize that, and that's just a more granular way of capturing relevance. So instead of getting just one embedding from a whole article, I actually get maybe 5 to 6 embeddings based on the article's length. And so the user's topics is now compared to so many embeddings representing paragraphs or sentences inside an article. It's actually not necessary, but from what I've observed, it really improved the performance of the semantic search that happens under the hood. Okay, so I think before we end this video, I want to talk about scraping strategies. Also because I'm going to do another video on another separate project where I will talk about scraping at length. So this is kind of a preview to that. There's many ways you can scrape the web. You can create classic Python scrapers like libraries such as Beautiful Soup or Selenium or Scrapey, or you can use news aggregators that have APIs and plug into them to get the latest news on a certain topic. Or you could also use services like Firecrawl that have AI agents to actually scrape the web for you. There's a lot of ways. But my main consideration here was cost, because this is just a small project that I was using to learn RAG, learn semantic search, have hands-on fluency on how it actually works under the hood. And so I just wanted something that would cost me $0 as much as possible. And also I wanted something that is very reliable. And this is the reason why I turned to RSS feeds as a scraping strategy. A lot of tech publications as well as AI companies actually publish their articles, their news updates, their announcements through their RSS feeds. And there are two really reliable libraries that I've used to extract RSS headlines and extract the link in those headlines, and then scrape the content of those headlines. And it's Mozilla Readability and Extractus. There's actually a YouTube video that I found that explains how they work really well. I'm gonna link it, and it's working out pretty well. I would say if I have a list of 50 websites that I want to scrape, it's able to scrape at least 80% of that. Speaking of article coverage, I also created this page to kind of visualize how much AI news coverage we have on a daily. So it looks like on a daily basis, we scrape about 30 to 40 articles. I haven't updated the publication list since I built this in 2024, but I really like this page because I can quickly get a glimpse of the latest in AI across 7 main categories: business, product, hardware, etc. You can kind of like read the list here, and then I get an executive briefing on what happened in that category of AI news. So I hope that this project has been kind of helpful to anybody out there who is thinking of building a RAG project or a project that's powered by semantic search. There's a lot of products you can build with this technology. You can build, I have a product that's matching resumes to what hires are actually looking for using semantic search. There's a lot of ways you can use this technology, and I hope that it's inspired someone. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll try to get to them as much as I can.